Hi there, this is Mr. Evans. This is a short video on price elasticity of demand and the impact of price elasticity of demand on revenue. So you guys need to be aware of how changes in price will affect revenue. So just a reminder, make sure you watch the first video on price elasticity of demand to help you understand it. But just a very quick recap, price elasticity of demand is a calculation that helps us judge the responsiveness of consumption, in other words quantity demanded, to a change in price. So how responsive are consumers to a change in price? If consumers aren't that responsive to changes in price, in other words, the quantity demanded changes proportionally less than the change in price, we would describe this as a product with price inelastic demand. In other words, you can change the price of the product, but consumers will continue to buy that product. And it would be represented by a coefficient, once you've put in the figures to the calculation, of a number starting minus 0 point something. If it's minus 0 point something, the product that signifies that this number up here, the quantity demanded, is changed by less than the price, and therefore the quantity demanded is not that responsive to changes in price. Whereas price elastic demand occurs when the quantity demanded is highly responsive to changes in price. So this number up here is bigger than this number down here. So say we've got a minus 10% change in price, the quantity demanded might have increased by 20%. We've cut the price by 10% and the quantity demanded has increased by 20%. In that case, we would get a figure of minus 2 for our price elasticity of demand figure. Anything that is greater than minus 1, or I should say less than minus 1 technically, it would be considered price elastic demand. So if it's minus 1.4, minus 2.3, minus 3.2, all of those are figures that would signify that demand is highly responsive to changes in price. So how can we use this? Businesses will want to know, right, if we change our price, what's going to happen to our quantity demanded, because that's going to determine what happens to our revenue. Revenue, remember, is price times quantity. So businesses will want to know, if we change our price, what's going to happen to the revenue that we're making. So a business that knows it's got a price elastic product and that wants to increase its revenue would cut the price of that price elastic product. Why is that? It's because that they know that consumers are very responsive to changes in price. So we may have let's take that example, the minus 10% change in price. Okay, we're losing 10% on each unit that we sell in terms of revenue, but we're adding 20% to demand. So we're going to sell a lot more units, and that increase in the volume of sales will make up for the amount of revenue that we're gaining from each unit sold. Loss in the amount of revenue gained from each unit sold. So if we've got a price elastic product, if consumers are very responsive to changes in the price, we would want to make the most of that and cut our price in order to sell more units and make more revenue. However, if we know that we have a price inelastic product where consumers aren't very responsive to changes in price, that would enable us to raise our price. We raise our price, say we do our 10% rise in price, the quantity demanded may only fall by 5%. Consumers aren't really that responsive to changes in price. We're getting more for each unit we sold. The prices increase. Okay, we might have lost some of the quantity of units we've sold, but the increase in the price of each unit, we're making more revenue on each unit, and that makes up for the lower sales volume. So, to summarise, if consumers are very responsive, we've got price elastic demand, then let's cut the price of our product, sell more units, and we'll make more revenue. If consumers aren't very responsive to changes in price, let's take advantage of that, let's increase our price, consumers will continue to buy the product, and therefore we make more revenue. Okay? But, of course, a very important thing to talk about in the exam is most businesses at the end of the day are more focused on profit than they are on revenue. So, okay, changing the price of a product will have an impact on revenue, but the impact on profit will depend on the effect on costs. So, let's just take the example of the increase in the fall in the price of the price elastic product. So we cut the price of the product by 10%. We expect consumers to buy a lot more of it as a result, and for demand to go up by 20%. However, how do we make consumers aware of that price cut? Do we need to advertise? And if we need to advertise, that's going to increase our costs. And if it costs us a lot of money to advertise the price cut to consumers, then that may well cancel out any impact on profit. So it's worth just remembering that this is quite, just considering the impact on revenue isn't necessarily the full picture. We want to consider also what happens to our costs. However, generally, it's easier if a business can increase the price of its product. If you are in a competitive market and you think you've got a price elastic product that consumers will really respond to and cutting the price of, so you cut the price of your product, you're expecting to sell a whole lot more units. If you're in a competitive market, well, that might not happen. Maybe your competitors will also cut the price of their product. Okay, and we get involved in a price war, in which case we don't get those extra sales. It'd be much better for a business, I would argue, to have a price inelastic product where you can control your pricing and you're in charge, because you know that even if you increase your price a little bit, consumers will tend to keep buying your product. So how can you create price inelastic demand for your product? Well, there's a couple of strategies. We can spend money on advertising to improve brand awareness, brand image. If consumers are aware of our brand's got a positive reputation amongst customers, it's more likely to have price inelastic demand, and then we don't have to worry about getting sucked into a price war. We can increase our price to reflect that positive brand image, and consumers should continue to buy our product, which would increase our revenue and hopefully our profit. We might look to increase differentiation, so maybe designing our product slightly differently, or making it look different, or having a particular celebrity endorsement, so that our product is unique and it has no substitutes. Remember, the number of substitutes is a determinant of the price elasticity of demand. If consumers perceive that there isn't really any alternative for our product, they have to, if they want to consume this good, they have to consume our version of it. Then we can create price inelastic demand, and we can have control over our price setting. We could try and eliminate our competitors through competitive pricing to eliminate the number of substitute goods. That is illegal to engage in competitive pricing, but nevertheless, it is a potential strategy that businesses may follow. Finally, we can create some sort of sense of urgency to purchase a product. A limited edition product, for example, is you were creating the illusion of scarcity, so people will go out and buy that product, and it should make them less responsive to changes in price. If they believe that product is scarce, they'll be prepared to pay more for it. Okay, so key points from this video: making sure that you understand that a business will want to use its price elasticity demand calculations to judge what will happen if it changes its price to its revenue. We should cut the price of an elastic product because consumers should respond to that. That should increase our revenue. Or we can increase the price of an elastic product because consumers aren't that responsive to changes in price.